With more, I'm joined by Angela Levin once again. She's a royal commentator, and she wrote the book, Harry, Conversations with the Prince. Angela, you and I spoke last week as this meeting was being put together. Here we are. It's going to be happening today. Meghan will be
Yes.
calling in from here in Canada. How do you imagine that conversation is going to play out? What do you see as some of the possible options that will be before the Duke and Duchess today to consider?
Well, I think that the conversation on the phone is going to be the most difficult part of the whole negotiations because Harry is in a really poor state. He's completely devastated, and rumor has it that he is feeling terrible about the fact that he might have to choose between his family, the royal family of Great Britain, and his wife, who he adores, and his little boy, Archie, who he adores too. It's not really a decision that anybody should be put to. I think he's very worried that whatever he finds won't be accepted by Meghan. And I think that's the huge question mark over the conversation today. Will she be flexible at all to accept what Harry might suggest is a good deal?
How did it get to this point, Angela?
I think it's been a very long-term brewing. Most people who are royal watchers feel it began before the wedding even and has gone on behind the curtains, building up slowly. So Prince Harry and Meghan are used to it, but of course the population and the royal family are not, for different reasons. The royal family would never have imagined that he could do such a thing, particularly not inform the Queen. He adores his grandmother and respects her hugely. And she is nearly 94. In April, she'll be 94. She's had a terrible year in 2019. Her husband's been very ill. He's 98. And terrible shock about Prince Andrew, who befriended a paedophile. So it's not a good time. And apparently there were sort of beginnings of conversation, and they said, let's take it slowly, let's work it out. But for reasons that are very difficult to understand, the Sussexes felt that they had to do it now. It's a bit like a teenager, I'm afraid, stamping their foot and saying, no, I want it now. It's got to give it to me now. Because I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think anyone benefits from all the public knowing all about it. The newspapers are full of it here, and I think around the world as well, pages and pages about it. We shouldn't know all the nitty-gritty of the conversations. They should have got together in a mature, sensible way and had a long discussion over months without anybody knowing anything about it, and then presenting a joint letter from the palace, the two palaces, saying that they want to ease off, they don't want to be senior royals anymore, and imply that it's all amicable. I mean, this we know every moment of it, and I think it's very unhealthy for them as well as for us. I've been really miserable about it because it seems so cruel to do that to your father, to your grandmother, and to your brother. And Prince Harry has an incredible relationship with William. He told me when I was talking to him about the book that he felt he was the only one he could trust, that they had a unique relationship in which they really understood each other, because no one would have lost their mother that early and then had to show their grief in front of billions around the world.
Angela, I'm going to be devil's advocate for a moment because you know as well as I do that there is a lot of chatter on social media about Meghan, and people are cheering her on for taking on this royal establishment and having this desire to do things their own way for her family. So what do you say to those people?
I say to those people that I think it's all too quick. She's had a very, very busy year. She's a new mother. She went through a pregnancy, and that really changes women and upsets the hormones. And I think that, not I'm trying to say that this is a hormonal thing, but I think you can't get used to the royal family in under 2 years. You need patience and time. And I think they could have done marvelous things together. but I think she's not the most patient of people. She feels that she should never have been a royal, but it's very late to do that. And poor Harry, who's waited so long to find love, it's very difficult for him.
Ultimately, do you think he will have to choose between his relatively new bride and his family, Angela? Or can they come to a compromise?
Well, I hope they can. It depends. If they all go in a positive mood and they feel, let's sort this out for goodness sake, and they're not trying to get very cross with each other and negative and try to challenge each other and make one-up points, if they can do that, there is a chance. But on the other hand, if Meghan doesn't pass it, then it won't go anywhere.
Angela
So
Levin. She is
as
the
the
author of the book Harry, Conversations with the Prince. Thank you so much, Angela.